He was born in 1924 in Columbus, Ohio, in a tight-knit community on the city's south side. It may have been the Roaring Twenties, but Columbus, located in the middle of the state, was a relatively quiet state capital. Cleveland, at the time, had genuine gangsters. Cincinnati had inept gangsters. In Newport, Kentucky, however, just across the river from Cincinnati, the gangsters really gained a foothold during the Prohibition era. Bootlegging, gambling, and prostitution were rampant. Frank Sinatra was just one of the Hollywood stars who popped in for a visit. As for Columbus, it had Republicans, state office workers, and farmland extending in all directions from the center of town. The Columbus gangsters would, however, make a bit of noise in the late 1960s because of illicit gambling. It was the annexation of suburban land in succeeding years that would be the cause of the city's noticeable growth. His given name was James Robert Hart, but he would always go by Bob. Families at the time tended to have multiple children, the better to keep the engine of family life humming. Children created hope and a belief that the times would surely get better. As well, children, in time, meant more family earning power. But Jimmy Hart and his wife, Mirza May, stopped having children after their little Bob was born. Friends and relatives wondered if the child would be spoiled. Such was the attention that his mother, Mirza, heaped on him. But little Bob never complained about being an only child, and he never took on an air of entitlement just because he had his parents all to himself. As the years rolled on, he acquired an independent streak. Other children on the South Side, a brew of whites and blacks who mostly got along, marveled at his sense of discipline. Teachers thought young Bob Hart wise beyond his years. Being an only child, he learned to do for himself when Mom or Dad wasn't around. He found camaraderie in sports, honing decent enough skills in basketball, baseball, and football. Jimmy Hart worked at Union Station, the downtown railway station. Sometimes he'd take little Bobby down there, and his son would gawk at all the Negroes, as they were often called then, bunching about. They had just arrived from southern states. Jimmy Hart's most common trip was the St. Louis run. On one of those runs, Jimmy met famed actress Mae West. He could hardly contain his excitement. He said she was the most beautiful girl in the world, Jimmy's granddaughter, Sherry remembers. Money was tight during the Depression, and the times were hard for most everyone. Bob's mother, Mirza May, worked as a waitress. She was sweet, loud, and exuberant. Neighbors whispered behind her back about her shameless loudness. She chuckled their snickering away. The Hart parents were respectful of the local black citizenry. Jimmy Hart had worked alongside black Pullman porters on all those railway runs. Mirza May's fun-loving manner seemed to preclude meanness toward others, no matter their racial identity. If the Harts doted on their only son, his affection for them was deep as well. Dinner conversations were full of spirited talk about train travel and the outside world. At South High, young Bob began to appreciate basketball more than the other sports he played. He liked the nuance of talent, the camaraderie on the court, the mechanics of the game, and how fast it moved. He noted that selfishness could disrupt a team of gifted athletes as quickly as could an injury. After graduating from South High School in 1942, when the nation was jittery and mired in war, Bob Hart enrolled at Ohio Wesleyan University, a small Methodist school in Delaware, Ohio, a rural community only 30 miles from his home. He arrived at the school with a continuing interest in sports, as well as a social conscience, and made both the basketball and baseball teams. He wrote letters to his girlfriend, Jean Woodyard, back in Columbus. During his occasional visits home to see his parents, he and Jean went on picnics and snuck away to the homes of friends to drink beer. She was attracted to his focus and his dependability. Bob Hart was no ladies' man and didn't try to be. He wore thick glasses and was already a little larger than the average high school boy. He was also serene, fastidious, exact, and particular about his likes and dislikes, sometimes to the point of annoyance, but these were traits that Jean found appealing. The letters he wrote to her were more flowery than her letters to him. He saw the difference, and it only heightened his doubts about her love for him. "Hi, sweetheart," he wrote her while on a fishing getaway to Buckeye Lake. "I am having a swell time. Have been missing you a lot. Wish you were here. Are you missing me? I love you. Bob." At times he was so insecure that his mother felt the depths of that insecurity. She'd write Jean telling her how much Bob loved her, and imploring Jean not to tell Bob she had written. When the Japanese dropped bombs on Pearl Harbor, Bob Hart, like other young men at the time, found his life upended by World War II. His parents were shattered when in the summer of 1943, their only son enlisted in the Army, stalling his education, at least for now.